I'm here with Della Wist, chairperson for the Cutter Rally for Cancer Committee, to discuss the cancellation of this year's Cutter Rally. Thanks for joining us today, Della.
You're welcome.
So this would have been the event's 17th year, if I'm not mistaken, but for anyone who may not know, what is the Cutter Rally for Cancer?
The Cutter Rally for Cancer is a fundraiser for the health unit in the chemo unit of the hospital. We have raised funds for the past 17 years. This would be the 18th. And it is where people bring their horses and their sleighs and their cutters. And we see all sorts of it, miniature horses, draft horses, riding horses. People can ride through the trail as well. We have a predetermined trail, and at each stop you would roll the dice, and the highest number at the end of the day with the dice would win a 2-seat cutter that we have for a grand prize. This year it's just a little difficult to try and do.
I imagine canceling the event wasn't a fun decision to make. Can you talk a little bit about the thought process going into that?
We had several meetings starting in last November, and we went right up until this last week, and hoping that we would still be able to host the function and still try and raise funds. But as we got into it, it was getting to be harder and harder to get anything done. We usually have about 200 or 300 in for a dinner that night, and you can't have more than 30. So that right off the bat put out the meal. We have beautiful roast beef dinner, and that cuts that one out. It cuts out the silent auction. It cut out basically everything so that we had nothing that we could meet more than 30 people with. So unfortunately, we had to cancel it, and we won't be doing the fundraiser this year with a Cutter Rally.
In the cancellation announcement, there was a mention of alternative events that would take place during the spring and/or summer. Are you able to comment on these plans?
It's in the planning stages right now. I have a committee that doesn't give up, and they brought along this idea and said, you know, we could host it hopefully when the restrictions are lifted a bit, and it would involve a drive because most of this is driven and that with the horses, but you can also horseback ride, as I said earlier. And it would include like a hot dog, wiener roast, something along that line. We can still maybe have it near the exhibition. The trail is the big problem in planning this. In the summertime, the crops are already in, so it eliminates a lot of possibilities, but we've got some ideas.
Right. Well, that sounds great. Will you be accepting donations in the meantime in an effort to continue raising funds, or is there some other way for people to get involved in the meantime?
We'll definitely take on some donations. We do that all during the year anyway. So if they want to, they can either donate at the Lloydminster exhibition or they can contact myself.
Perfect. And is there anything you'd like to add on the subject while we have you?
I think our committee is quite disappointed about the result, and because I had a lot that were willing to give it a go if we could have had the people around for it. So because we usually get about 30 cutters and sleighs and all the horses that go with that, plus numerous horseback riders. So it is a big event, and it's disappointing that we can't do it for the 18th year.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you for taking the time today, Della. I appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.